Teacher video time. What teacher was the one you hated the most? I've got 8 different personalities that you might just think, I had that teacher. Let's get started. So hey everybody, it's been a minute since we've done an education teacher video, and I thought, let's dig back into my past and think about, what are some of those teachers that I've had to work with that were just terrible? And unfortunately, every profession has somebody in the role that they should not be in. They shouldn't be teaching. They shouldn't be policemen, for example. They shouldn't be ministers. They shouldn't be businessmen. Everyone has that, and here are 8 that should not be in education. And as I go through these today, put down in the comments which one you had. Give me the story. Don't get their name out there, but just, I'm not giving you names. I've given them little fun names. But let me know who you had that you were like, how did I survive that teacher? Before we get started, I need to remind you guys, my latest Partworks auction is live right now. It ends Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. So if you're interested, you want to check any of them out, make sure you hit that link in the description below. You can go there. Even if you don't want to buy anything, go check them out if you're just curious to see what I'm making. They turned out really great, and I've had so much fun. I'm under a little pressure for June. I've got to get more stuff made because I'm thinking Father's Day might be a good time for people to want to buy a Partwork. I don't know. It's better than a bottle of shaving cream and cologne, I guess, right? Or another tie. Oh. Anyway, check out the link in the description. But let's get back to this video though. My first one was Mr. Worksheet. How many of you had a teacher that was kind of toward the end of their career and they just were like, screw it, they just need to get to their pension, they just need to get through so many more years? Yeah, the alternative high school I had, there was a teacher, we just dubbed him, even the kids dubbed him Mr. Worksheet. You did one worksheet, then you did the next worksheet, and you did the next worksheet. Yeah. It was bad. My sister actually had a teacher after I did. He was okay when I got there, but by the time she got there a few years later, he was Mr. Video. And so he was doing a lot of teaching through videos. Yeah. So that was Mr. Worksheet, or Mr. I really don't want to be working here anymore. The next one I have is Mr. Power Trip. Yeah. This one was, my daughter had this teacher last year, and of course I was working with him because she was at my school, but he had quite the power trip. He would have assignments that were only open a very short window, and if you didn't get them done, oh well, I'm sorry, he's not going to open it any longer because it's all like open through computer stuff. Yeah, if you wanted to work on it, you would have to come in at a special time during the day, whether we had like kind of a consortium study hall time. Yeah, they had to come in during then or come in on a Saturday. This was a senior level class. These kids had jobs, and our school didn't have Saturday transportation, and these kids didn't have cars. So it was really inconvenient for kids, and it wasn't fair that they were having to try and jump through these hoops. At one point, the kids they all have computers, one-to-one computers, and so they're sitting there typing at the beginning of class, and he's like, why aren't you guys listening to me? And they're like, if we don't get this done, you close it too fast, and we've got to type. So he was kind of sabotaging himself. So that's Mr. Power Trip. Then we have Miss Cell Phone. Now, I'm not a proponent of cell phones in the classroom. There are uses for them, especially like in an art class. Kids like, what does a tiger look like? Google it. You can look it up yourself. So, hey, I can use it as a reference image. But just to have for cheating purposes, yeah, I'm not into that. But this one teacher, she was like the cell phone Nazi. If she just saw it, it's just, you're sitting at your desk, it's sitting in your back pocket, because that's where we keep phones, because that doesn't fit in the front pocket. If it was just sitting in there, didn't do anything, she just saw it, she would take it, she would confiscate it. If a kid was getting into his book bag, because they don't have anywhere else to keep. If you can't keep it in your pocket, where else are you going to put it? So put it in your book bag. If they're in their book bag trying to grab a book or a notebook out, she saw the phone, she would take it. And then of course it went to the office, and then there was procedures for that. But it was like, they're not even using it. She had a serious power trip of her own on cell phones. Then of course there's Mr. Temper. Mr. Temper also has a little bit of coincide to, I hate my job. Yeah, it can be either way. This one happened a long time ago at my previous school, that one of the teachers got mad and threw a book at a kid. I understand sometimes kids, they're teenagers, they push buttons. They're very good at pushing buttons. And as an adult, you have to respond to them. You just say, okay, fine. If you don't want to be here, get in the hallway, go to the office. You don't chuck a book at them. And so that one was a hard one to live down. He got better over time. I mean, he was a young teacher when that happened. I knew him later on. He was no longer throwing books. My daughter actually had him for a class and no book throwing. But we have our bad moments as well. But that was one. But the other one is the I hate my job and just gets snarly and mean and nasty. It's like, oh, I've had that one as well. But then there's also Miss Busybody. Miss Busybody likes to keep up with all the drama and gossip going on. Teach your job. You're to educate, not to be involved in what kids' relationships are. Now, mind you, I knew who was dating who when I was teaching. Sometimes it was handy. I'm like, hey, I forgot to tell, your boyfriend or your girlfriend something. Could you make sure you tell them this? Or, hey, make sure if you see them, tell them to come talk to me. I need to ask them a question. Useful. I would do it for friends as well, not just boyfriend, girlfriend. But it was handy. But this one teacher, she got up into their business and helping them and talking about their relationships. I'm like, you are not a counselor. You are a language arts English teacher. That's it. English. Teach English. Teach how to write a research paper. Please. Talk about literature. But get out of their business. So that was another one. The next one I have is Mr. Favorites. And, as a teacher, you have your favorites. You really do. You have your kids who are just really nice. Maybe they're really social. Maybe you connect with them on a certain level. You have a common interest. Maybe you like the same kind of music. Okay, you like the same kind of, art styles. I get that. I mean, and if a kid's really excelling in the subject you teach, fabulous. You probably will put a little more time into that kid rather than the kid who's like, it's better than the kid who finds the class so boring they have to sit there like this and drift off. Yeah, those are the kids that are kind of hard to reach. But the kid who really wants to be there and really is participating, okay, I get that. But then you go a little too far. Oh, they're really favorites. Oh, in the art room, it was, I have some special art supplies. Would you like to use them? Oh, you can't use them. Only these groups can use them. Oh, I'm doing a field trip to a special place. Oh, but you group over here, you don't get to go. Only my favorite group. I get to hand pick who gets to go. Or hand pick who gets to be in a special class. Yeah, those are not so good. And I've seen that a handful of times as well. We also have Miss Conceited. Miss Conceited is, I'm better than everyone else. I've seen this in a couple of different ways. One was, I am a doctor teacher. Okay, great. You have your doctorate and you're teaching in a K through 12 environment. Great. You're not making a whole lot of money. And by the fact you have to make people call you doctor, that means you got a bit of a complex. I know you worked really hard to get that doctorate, but you're sitting in a classroom with teenagers. Okay, so there's misconsidered, that's why I'm better than you. The other one is that sometimes adults would think of the teenagers as being kind of subhuman and not worth their time. One I can think of was she had limited mobility, and it was nothing. It was just her own doing. She actually had a scooter. It wasn't like she was fully disabled. She could walk. She just liked to go around on a scooter. And she would, if you didn't get your book bag totally tucked under your chair, she would run it over. Yeah, she did. One of my daughter's friends is like, oh, okay, great. This is not how you make friends with your students. Maybe treat their items with some respect. They'll treat your items with respect, unless you want, chapter 12 ripped out of your textbook for the next kid in the next year. Maybe be nice to the kids a little bit. And the worst one, and this is the one I hate the most, the Mr. Hormones. It could be Miss Hormones. It's been both ways. The ones who find that, I'm going to become involved with others in the building. I never did hear of a relationship going on with teachers in my building between two different teachers. Other if they were married. We had a couple of married couples, but obviously they better be friendly with each other. We hope they're friendly with each other if they're a married couple. But I never heard of non-married people connecting that way. And some of it is I was not Miss Busybody. I was not getting into anybody else's business. So I was kind of staying out of that. I was staying out of the copy room, staying out of the office a lot because I was too busy. I didn't have time to gossip. But there is that where the people can, get a little friendly. But then there's also where the teacher and the student relationship is inappropriate. Luckily, I had a fabulous principal who really gave guidance on that. He's like, just don't ever be alone with anyone. Keep the door open. Don't close your classroom door. Always keep it open. And luckily, my classrooms were usually in a main area, so it was pretty easy. Someone's always usually walking by, could see something. But yeah, it's always embarrassing when somebody gets arrested in your class, in your building, for having had an inappropriate relationship and losing their teaching license because they were found to be guilty of that inappropriate relationship. So, what bad teacher have you had in your life? I have seen all of these while I was teaching, and I had many of them when I was going through my years of school. So I'd love to hear what you guys have. Put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.